Welcome to She Opens Her Bible. We are so grateful you've joined us for this conversation today.
It really is a joy to be here with you.
We're diving into something that, well, it touches so many of our lives, right? How we can faithfully live out our beliefs
hmm
and, really shine for Christ right where we spend so much time, our workplace.
It's such a common challenge for Christian women, isn't it? You feel this call, this desire to live your faithfully, but then the professional world. Sometimes it feels like faith needs to be, I don't know, put in a box.
Yeah, compartmentalized or hidden away.
Exactly.
Mm.
There's that pressure maybe to keep quiet, or maybe you feel isolated, or you're just not sure about the practical ways to bring faith into the everyday work stuff.
Totally. You know these truths from God's word, you believe them, but then it's like, okay, how does this work when I've got a difficult client on the line or there's office politics swirling or I'm just trying to hit a deadline?
Right. The rubber meets the road stuff.
That's exactly what we want to get into today.
And, to help us talk through this, we're looking at a really insightful post from the Affirm Faith Color site.
Oh, yeah.
It's written by Sue Nelson, and she's actually one of our co-founders here at She Opens Her Bible and Affirm Faith Company.
That's right.
And Sue just has this real heart for helping women connect with God and live authentically, in all parts of life.
Her article, it just lays out such a clear biblical foundation, but also really practical steps for handling these challenges we all face. So our goal really in this conversation is to unpack those ideas.
Make them tangible.
Yeah, tangible and hopefully really encouraging for you wherever it is you work.
And Sue, she rightly starts us off with Scripture.
Mhm.
That's our foundation. One key verse she brings up is Colossians chapter 3, verse 23.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a powerful one. Whatever you do your work heartily, as for the Lord and not for people.
Wow. That verse is just a game changer, isn't it? It takes our daily tasks, even the ones that feel, boring or mundane, and lifts them up to the level of serving God himself. It turns work from just a job into, well, an act of worship.
Exactly. And then she also points us to Matthew chapter 5, verse 16. That's the one about letting our light shine before others.
So they see our good deeds.
And glorify our Father in heaven.
Yeah.
So our actions, our attitude at work, it's not just about our performance review. It's a potential window for others to see God working in us.
And then there's 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 15, being ready to give an answer for the hope we have.
But doing it with gentleness and respect.
Yes.
It's not about having some slick argument ready.
No.
It's about being prepared. When someone asks, "Why are you so calm?" Or, "How do you handle things that way?" Take me to intently about the hope that's within you.
And it's important to remember, like Sue points out in the post, this whole idea of faith and work being connected, it's not new.
Not at all.
I mean, look at the Apostle Paul. He was a tent maker. Acts chapter 18, verse 3 tells us he worked right alongside Aquila and Priscilla in their trade.
Right. His work supported him, sure. But it was also the place where he built relationships and did ministry.
So it's not about having to find a specifically Christian job.
No, it's about bringing Christ into whatever job you have. The early church, they understood that faith wasn't just for Sunday morning. It affected everything, including how they did business.
Okay, so the article also talks about why this feels especially relevant, maybe even urgent right now. What stood out to you there?
Well, a few things seem to be shifting things. First, the increase in digital work. Remote work means more isolation for many.
Mm-hmm.
And that changes how we connect, how we build those relationships where we can be a light.
That's a good point. It can feel harder to have those spontaneous, authentic moments.
Right. And workplaces are also more diverse than ever, which is a great thing. But it also means talking about faith needs, maybe. More wisdom, more sensitivity. Sometimes, the push for inclusivity can make some Christians feel like they need to be extra cautious about expressing their own deeply held beliefs.
And there's that search for meaning we see everywhere. The article mentions research, I think, from Barnett and Pew.
Yes. People are looking for more than just a paycheck. They want their work to matter, to have purpose.
We all want that, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And faith gives that ultimate purpose. Sue quotes Tim Keller in the article saying something like, "Everyone will be forgotten unless there is God."
Wow.
When we see our work as being done for the Lord, it connects our everyday tasks to something eternal. It gives them lasting value. And when our faith is visible, even subtly, it brings light into places that might really need it. It offers a different way to look at challenges, a different source of meaning.
Okay, so we've got the why, the biblical reasons, the current context. Let's get into the how. Sue lays out 10 really practical ways we can shine for Christ at work.
Yes, these are great, really actionable stuff.
The first one feels so foundational. Begin with prayer and intentionality. This is about starting their day differently, right?
It really is. It's
Yeah.
about consciously inviting God into your workday before it even really begins, surrendering your schedule, your meetings, your interactions to Him.
Praying for coworkers by name.
Yes, praying for wisdom for yourself, for patience, for opportunities to be a light, for any woman who's really seeking to hear God's voice in her daily work. This first step, this intentional prayer time, it's crucial. It's like clearing space to listen before the noise starts.
The article even suggests maybe using a prayer guide.
Yeah, that can help keep you focused on specific needs in your workplace. Structure helps sometimes.
Definitely. Okay, point 2, be excellent in what you do work as worship. How does just doing a good job connect to faith?
Well, think about it. Our commitment to quality, to diligence, it reflects who we say we serve. Doing sloppy work doesn't really honor God, does it?
No, it doesn't.
And it can actually hurt our credibility if we later try to talk about our faith. Proverbs chapter 22, verse 29 says, "Do you see a man skilled in his work? He will stand before kings." That skill, that excellence, it's not just about climbing the ladder. It's about showing a level of care and dedication that comes from doing it as for the Lord. People notice that. They notice quality, and it can open doors. Why do you care so much? That kind of thing.
That makes perfect sense. The work itself speaks. Okay, point 3, show grace under pressure. Work can get so stressful.
Oh, absolutely. And how we react when things go wrong, a deadline blows up, a client is angry, there's conflict. It's a huge opportunity.
Right,
Sue shares that story in the post, remember,
right.
about the friend who stayed super calm during this really intense client call.
Yeah, everyone else was freaking out.
Exactly. And afterwards, someone asked her, "How do you stay so calm?" And she didn't give a big lecture. She just said, "Honestly, I prayed through it."
Simple, authentic.
Right. Her reaction, fueled by her faith, made someone curious. It opened a door naturally. Grace, especially when things are tough, it's really countercultural, people notice.
It's not about pretending stress doesn't exist, but about how you walk through it with God. Okay, point 4, create a culture of encouragement. This feels like the antidote to office gossip and negativity.
It absolutely is. And
Ah.
instead of just, listening to the complaining or worse, joining in,
Mm-hmm.
we can actively choose to speak life, to build people up. And it doesn't have to be huge things. The article gives examples, like just saying, "Hey, I saw how hard you worked on that," or "That meeting was rough, but you handled it with real grace."
Or even just, thanks for being so consistent.
Yes, those simple, specific words can totally change someone's day. And it shifts the whole vibe. It shows you value people, which reflects God's heart.
That kind of positivity is so needed. Number 5, build authentic relationships. This isn't about seeing colleagues as projects, right?
Not at all. It's about genuinely caring,
Mm.
being interested in them as people, asking about their weekend and actually listening to the answer, remembering their kid's name or their birthday.
Being a real person.
Exactly. Being real. When people feel seen and valued by you, just as a person, they're way more likely to be open if down the road an opportunity comes up to share about your faith. It comes from trust, from relationship, not from some agenda.
That foundation of trust is key. Okay, point 6, don't compromise core values. This is where things can get sticky sometimes.
For sure. Integrity is just non-negotiable if we're trying to follow Jesus.
Mm.
So if you're ever asked to, cut corners, shade the truth, be dishonest,
Yeah.
that's a moment to stand firm.
How do you do that without, causing a huge scene?
Sue suggests some simple, respectful phrases. Things like, "That doesn't really align with how I approach my work." Or maybe, "I'd prefer to handle this situation a different way."
Polite but clear.
Right, yeah. You can hold your ground respectfully. And honestly, even if people don't understand your reasons at first, that kind of integrity builds deep trust and respect over time.
It shows your character. Point 7 ties into this. Respect all belief systems. How do we balance living out our faith with respecting others who believe differently?
It's about being, as the article puts it, faith-friendly, not faith-forceful. We're called to love our neighbors, and that includes colleagues with different backgrounds, different beliefs, or maybe no faith at all.
So, listening more.
Yes, listening, asking questions to understand, and focusing on demonstrating the love of Christ through how you act, through your character. Not just trying to win arguments about beliefs. There are groups like the Denver Institute for Faith and Work mentioned in the post that talk about creating workplaces where everyone feels respected
Yeah.
while still allowing for personal faith expression.
That's a helpful distinction. Okay, point 8 definitely takes some courage. Start or join a faith group or prayer circle. Is that usually allowed?
Often, yes.
Oh.
The article points out that in many places, especially in the U.S., voluntary groups meeting outside of required work time are legally protected. Think about companies like Tyson Foods. They actually have chaplains. Yeah. Now, your company might not have that, but you can potentially initiate something small. Gather with a few like-minded colleagues for prayer or encouragement. It might feel like a big step, but having that kind of community at work can be incredibly strengthening.
That makes sense. Number 9 is intriguing. Use your gifts in the workplace. You mean like spiritual gifts?
Exactly. Those gifts God gives us: leadership, administration, mercy, wisdom, teaching, discernment. They aren't just for church activities.
So they apply Monday to Friday too.
Absolutely. Your gift of leadership shows up in how you manage a team. Your gift of administration helps organize a project. Your gift of mercy shines when you comfort a struggling coworker. Your wisdom contributes to good decisions in meetings.
Huh. I hadn't quite thought of it that way.
Yeah. So reflecting on how God has gifted you and then intentionally using those gifts to serve others and contribute positively at work. That's a powerful, often quiet way to live out your faith.
And the final point, number 10.
Well,
Live with eternal perspective. This helps keep work in its proper place, right?
it's such a vital anchor. Your job, your career, it's part of God's plan for you now in this season, but it's not your ultimate identity.
Right. Titles change, companies change.
Exactly. But the impact you make for God's kingdom through your faithfulness, your integrity, your love that lasts forever, keeping that Matthew chapter 6, verse 33 perspective. Seeking his kingdom first helps you navigate the ups and downs and trust him with the outcomes.
Wow. Those 10 points from Sue's article just cover so much practical ground. And the post also shares some real-life examples, which really helps make it concrete.
Yeah, they really bring it to life. There's Sarah, the marketing manager. She started intentionally praying over her calendar, her projects, her team members. Then this big crisis hit at work, total chaos, but she stayed calm. And a teammate noticed, right? Asked her how she managed it.
And she just said she prayed.
She just said, I prayed through it. Simple, honest. And that opened the door for a deeper faith conversation later. That's grace under pressure leading to a natural witness.
Such a great example. And Monica, the nurse.
Monica sees her work as loving people in really vulnerable moments. She prays quietly for her patients, for their families, especially when they're facing difficult news or grieving.
So it's not always verbal.
Right. Her colleagues see her compassion, her peacefulness, especially when things are stressful. Her faith isn't something she has to announce. It's evident in how she cares for people. It reflects Christ's love.
And then James, the teacher in a public school, that's a different environment again.
Totally. He can't directly teach biblical lessons, obviously, but he lives his faith through his character day in and day out. He encourages students, he's fair, he has integrity, he prays privately for his classroom.
And people notice.
Yeah, a parent actually told him they felt this sense of peace knowing their child was in his class, saying there was just something different about him. His consistent character was the witness.
These stories really show it's not about the type of job, is it? It's about bringing your whole self, including your faith, into whatever work God has given you.
Exactly. It underscores that it's often those small, consistent choices flowing from our relationship with God that make the real difference over time.
The article also tackles some common questions in an FAQ section. Things women might worry about, like, can I actually get in trouble for talking about Jesus at work?
That's a really fair question. It's good to know, especially in the U.S., that there are legal protections, like through the EEOC, for religious expression.
As long as it's respectful.
Right, as long as it's respectful, not disruptive to the work environment. Generally, you can share your faith if someone asks, or if the conversation naturally goes there. The key is wisdom, kindness, gentleness, not pushing it on people.
And related to that, how do you share without causing offense?
Again, it really starts with building those authentic relationships first, listening well. Then when opportunities come up, share your own experience, your own story. Focus on being kind, respectful, avoid debates. Often, like the article says, your actions, your integrity, your grace speak louder than words anyway.
What about really simple everyday ways to show faith?
The post emphasizes small, consistent things. Praying silently before a tough meeting, offering a genuine word of encouragement, choosing honesty when it would be easier not to. showing patience. Those daily choices are powerful expressions.
Is it okay to, say, keep a Bible on your desk?
Generally, yeah. Personal items like that are usually okay as long as they aren't disruptive and don't violate company rules that apply to everyone equally. It's a personal choice, but it can be a quiet visual reminder of your faith.
What if you're in a workplace that feels really secular, maybe even a bit hostile to faith?
Even there, your actions make an impact. Your integrity when others cut corners, your excellence in your work, your compassion, your calm demeanor, your private prayer, those things still stand out. They still reflect Christ, even if you can't have open faith discussions.
And remote work, so many are doing that now. Is it harder or?
It can definitely be an opportunity. Your character still shines through, even on Zoom or Slack. Showing grace in virtual meetings, sending an encouraging chat message, doing your work well, praying before you log on, your influence isn't limited by physical presence.
And finally, that question of whether your job has to be in ministry for it to count for God.
Absolutely not. We've kind of touched on this, but every workplace is a mission field. You honor God by serving faithfully right where you are, whether that's healthcare, tech, education, retail, finance, anything. Your faith can shine anywhere.
You know, as Sue wraps up her post, she brings it back so beautifully. Shining for Christ at work isn't about being the loudest or trying to be perfect.
No, it's about that simple, consistent faithfulness. Showing up with integrity day after day, choosing grace when it's hard, offering encouragement, doing your work well, remembering you're doing it for the Lord.
The pressure isn't on us to achieve certain results, right?
Right. It's about being faithful, being present, and trusting God with the impact, seen and unseen.
She closes with that great verse from Galatians chapter 6, verse 9. Let's not become discouraged in doing good, for in due time we will reap if we do not become weary.
Such a needed reminder. Keep going. Don't give up. Even when you don't see immediate results, God sees it all.
So maybe for you listening today, the takeaway is this. What's just one small practical step you could take this week? Something intentional to live out your faith a bit more visibly where you work.
Just one thing.
Yeah, maybe it's deciding to pray for one specific coworker each day. Or maybe it's intentionally choosing to offer encouragement when you hear complaining start. Or maybe just focusing on doing one particular task with extra diligence as an act of worship for God.
Something small and doable.
Exactly. Take that one step and then trust God with what happens next, with the impact only He can see.
That feels manageable, empowering even.
Well, thank you so much for joining us for this conversation today. We really pray it's encouraged you, maybe equipped you a little to see your workplace not just as a place you go, but as a vital mission field where God really wants to use you.
He truly does. You are there for a reason.
And we really encourage you, please visit sheopensyourbible.com and also affirmfaithco.com. You'll find more content there, lots of resources, and a great community if you're looking to grow deeper in your walk with the Lord.
And don't forget to check out our Substack, too. That's at shesowscripture.substack.com.
May God bless you richly as you seek to shine His light right where He has placed you today.